Hello all and welcome to Jamie's Basic Backgrounds. This is one of our videos in a series that you can find on our YouTube channel, Crafting with Jamie Rodgers and Craftmania. The complete aim is just to share with you some quick background techniques that you can be working with using different products and different ideas to hopefully give you a bit of inspiration on them foggy brain days. Today we're going to actually be stamping with a product that you might not know you can stamp with. We're going to be stamping with Glitterkiss. Now this is a Cosmic Shimmer product. It's one in the family of our polishes. You may have seen our different styles of polishes many times before, from the opals to the metallics, all the way through to the neons and the matte chalks. The technique we're going to be doing, you can do with all of those, but today I thought I'd really show you the Glitterkiss because it's one you probably wouldn't expect you could stamp with in any way, shape or form. Now, a tip for you with this, I would highly recommend you have a stamping platform. One of the hinged booklet style ones like I'm using is brilliant because of this isn't an ink, this isn't an ink pad in any form, this isn't its designed purpose, and we will find that you may need to stamp several times to really get a crisp effect with it. So I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to pop that onto my cover. I'm going to bring in a sheet of card. I'm not worried about lining this one up, or if not I'd be sort of lining it up where I wanted and then shutting it. We're just going to stamp one to give you an idea. So I can see that my stamped impression is going to go in the middle there. We're going to be using a woodware stamp called Old Letter. You're going to find this on the Craftmania website, of course. It's actually one of my favourite stamps all time. You're going to see this featured on lots of videos, lots of blog posts and bits like that because I go back to it time and time again. We're going to be using Glitterkiss and we're going to use Sahara Gold for this. Now, if you haven't seen the polishes before in any of the formats, in the lid we have your applicator ready for you to use with the product. You can then unscrew the top of the lid and you'll find that your product is nestled inside the glass jar. Now with Glitterkiss, the same with all of the polishes, we recommend that you use the applicator that comes included, build up a little ramp on the side of the jar here and cover your applicator with a small amount of product. You shouldn't see any lumps or bumps, and same with this technique. We don't want to waste your product, we don't want it to go into the gaps in between the stamp, we're trying to kiss the top of the stamp itself. So we're going to take the product and we're going to tap over the top. Now Glitterkiss is glitter suspended in a clear medium, like a glue, a gel base that's going to adhere the glitter to your cardstock. This is an ultra fine glitter and a quick dry product. So if we was to be swiping this over our card to make glitter card, we can do that, that's not a problem. And there's loads of different techniques actually we can do with Glitterkiss. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this video is launched, but we are working on an ideas sheet to show you this technique and many more that you can do with Glitterkiss. But it is a quick drying product, so we have to be prepared for the idea that it might start to settle on your stamp, especially if, like me, you're waffling around a bit and you know that it's drying. So just take an ordinary mister bottle with some water in it and mist over the top of your image. Now we don't want your image to become too blurry, so you don't want too much water. We're just going to take our press and we're going to push down on it. Now I know I'm going to need to do this a couple of times to get a full-on image, fully prepared for that, I'm not worried about that. So when we reveal this, if it isn't solid and perfect, it's not the end of the world. But what we can see is we've already started to build up a really lovely script background. We can see that this area here has come out lighter. Now if you remember, that's where I started, so we might find that that bit's a little bit drier than the rest of it was. So we're going to pad a bit more of the product over the top of the stamp so that it's all nice and covered, and we're going to go in again. Now I've already misted with water, so I might not need to mist again because I don't want my stamp to be too wet, but you'll soon learn when to mist and when not to, and how often to mist. I actually think that's quite lovely, I'm quite happy with that. I think that's quite a nice vintage effect, and I would be happy to leave that one as it is. If you wanted to carry on layering up, of course you can do. There are of course other techniques which this idea lends itself as well. So we could of course at this stage swap, leave that in place on our press, swap from using the gold glitter, go for a different shade of glitter and add a few accents of that over the top and stamp with that if we wanted to. So you've got more of a multi-tonal effect. Talking of creating multi-tonal effects, there's no reason why we can't use more than one colour on our stamp at a time. So I'm going to bring in another piece of black cardstock, we're going to pop that down, and we're going to swap stamps now, and we're going to go on to one called Mixed Bunch. This again is actually on the Craftmania website, and I have heard that this one's been discontinued. Again, I know I said this about the last one, I have a lot of favourites, and I genuinely, truthfully mean it. If you ever see me on TV, you'll know this is a stamp I bring back as many times as I can because I love it. And exactly the same with the blog posts and bits like that. You're going to know that it's one that features on quite a lot of my work because I just find it a really good design to work with. This time we're going to use the Fired Red, and I'm going to point out at this stage, you're going to notice a lot of my sponges tend to be multicoloured. Although the sponges do store back in top of the pot, and you can leave them there, especially with Glitterkiss more than any of the other polishes, I would recommend that you wash them through and put them back into the pots after you've actually cleaned them off. Now, because I have, this is only probably a third of my collection, I have loads of these and I have loads of sponges, and I tend to actually store all of my sponges in a big pot. And I just use whatever sponge I pull out at whatever time. Although the product may stain the sponge, it's not going to damage how the sponge or the applicator works. There's no colour actually on this. So although it looks purple, it's not a problem to use with my Glitterkiss now. Wash it through, and next week I'll be using it with one of the other colours that will stain it a different shade. Talking of maintenance, you might wonder why I don't store them in there actually, so we'll talk about that as well. I find if I don't store the applicators in the top of the jars, I can actually stack the jars on my shelving and they take up a lot less room than if they have the different applicators on the top of them, and I have to store them like you see them across the top shelf here, sort of staggering the design. They're not as supported. This way I can actually see everything I've got very easily. All of my sponges are in one pot for me to come back to. So it's up to you. You can wash them through and put them in there. You can also, if you're going to be coming back to them quite soon, if you don't want to wash them, you can just mist them with a bit of water and pop them back into the lid, and that will stop the product drying on the sponge and actually drying onto it. If you do forget, now you'll know this if you watch many of my videos or shows or anything, I'm one of the messiest and laziest crafters you're ever going to find. I often forget to wash them through. If you do forget and you come back to it in time and they're quite hard and a little bit crusty, just soak them in some hot water and you should find that the Glitterkiss or the metallic polish or whichever one you're looking at, because they're water based, will just soak through and your sponge can go back to being used. Went off on a bit of a tangent there, didn't we? Sorry about that. So we're going to come back. We're going to use our Fired Red Glitterkiss. And exactly the same as we did last time. But what we're going to do is we're going to go for different areas on our stamp for different colours. So we're going to pick the outer areas of this stamp to be red. And we're going to add on our red Glitterkiss around the sides here. Now, because I know that I can wash my sponges and I can wash my applicators, I'm not worried if I get more than one colour on an applicator. That doesn't matter to me. So we're also going to bring in Sky Blue and we're going to build up the areas in the middle here. So we're straight away mixing our colours. We're going to happily let them mix together slightly. I'm not contaminating my product. I'm being careful in how I'm applying it. I'm just going to mix in some areas. I want a bit of blue on the outer edges here as well. So we're going to go over the edges there. We'll do a bit around there as well. We might actually think we've covered up a bit too much of the red. So we're going to bring in a bit of the red around the sides here. And exactly the same as we did last time. We know we're going to restamp this. We know that one image probably isn't going to be enough to get a solid effect. So we're going to mist. We're going to bring that over. We're going to stamp that down. I'm going to have a little look at what we've created. Very nice first impression, happy with that. Need a bit more on this top bit, so we're going to bring in a bit more colour. We're going to go for a bit more red over the end. And there's a bit of a flower missing there, so we're going to add in that one. We're going to bring in a bit more blue again. And we can just build up in small cases. If you don't like the idea of mixing your colours on your stamp straight away, then of course if you wish you could stamp in different stages. You don't have to do it as I'm doing it. As I mentioned, I am quite a messy crafter. I know my flaws as such, but I'm quite happy to be messy. But just keep building and keep playing and see when you're happy with it. See what you wish to create. Now with your stamps, obviously this all washes off. It is water based. I wouldn't recommend you leave it to dry because obviously it's going to set more of a task on removing it. But just soak them straight into some water and let them come off. I'm going to show you a couple of finished things I've already done here just to give you some more ideas. So we have our panel here which has been created with the old letter stamp, just matching it up and going all over. I think that could make a really lovely vintage background. Could be quite nice for Christmas depending on the topper elements we've got on there, or could also be quite nice for men's cards as well, something a lot of people struggle with. And then the stamp that we've just been using, the mixed bunch one, you can see one here I've done on coconut white card and one here I've done on black card. So again, it doesn't have to be on black card, just for camera we tend to find that the glitter sort of pops a bit easier and you tend to see the colours slightly nicer on the dark card. But again, play around with tones. One thing I really like and I'm playing around with quite a lot at the moment is stamping on the same colour. So using red Glitterkiss over the top of red cardstock, and then you're just going to get a really nice glittery effect. That can work really well. So play, see how you get on, and don't forget that the stamping technique that I've just shown you works exactly the same way if you do wish to be doing this with the metallic polishes, the opal polishes, the matte chalk polishes, or of course the neon polishes, the luster polishes. They all work in the same way, so it's just a really fun way for you to make up backgrounds or focal points for your cards. I really hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope it's taught you something you might not have already seen before, or give you a bit of inspiration, or just reminded you that you can do it with this product. If you have enjoyed it and you do get creating with this concept, then please do share your creations with us on our Facebook group, which is Create with Craftmania and Jamie Rodgers. It is a private group, so you will have to ask to enter and agree to our terms, but it's completely free, it's ever so easy to follow, and it's great fun to see. I think around 1,600 of you have now joined and are sharing with us your creations. We also have fortnightly competitions and lots of different Top Tip Tuesdays and Background Fridays and different bits like that will hopefully also give you some inspiration too. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye for now.